And welcome, guys. What's happening out there? Welcome to another episode of 420 News. Jesus, hard to believe that it's been well over a year now that I've been welcoming you all to the 420 News. Crazy to think I should have really noted down when this thing started, when I started it, because I don't even know what the original date was when I started this, but I do know it was sometime June 2020. But yeah, I don't know why that just came into my head there nonetheless. But yes, guys, welcome. Possibly due to maybe the little Collins' birthday. Little Collins are celebrating their third year open here in Ireland. They've now got shops in Galway and Kilkenny, and they've aspirations there to spread into Dublin. So well done to Little Collins for all they've done here in Ireland so far, and best of luck to go on into the future, and with the High Court case there and everything. But we've got our support anyway. That goes without saying. But welcome, guys. Welcome. Just gonna pack me up a bowl here now. Just looking for me. Whoops. Lovely. Sorted. Get me out a nug from the jar. Oh yes. Beautiful nugs. Absolutely gorgeous. 8472. It's really like turn off the green screen when showing off these lovely nugs. Not the biggest, but by golly are these things dense, like solid nugs, and absolutely gorgeous to smell as well. So yes, let me pack some of that up into my grinder, and we grind that up, and we'll blaze up a bowl with all you guys. So get your comments in there. We'll get to the comments in a couple of seconds. We'll shout out all our greetings to everybody in the audience. Hopefully everybody's had a good weekend. Hopefully any events that occurred over the weekend were positive ones. Otherwise, I hope it remained uneventful for you. You know what they say, no news is good news. And that's certainly true here in 420 News. You know, if I had no news here, maybe that could be good news, because quite a lot of the news I cover here, it's fucking depressing. Watching all of that cannabis there last week again, getting raided, €2 million worth of cannabis getting raided there. Oh, man. What a heartbreaker, So, yes, no news is good news, but we have some headlines there for you today, guys. Yes, we do. But we do have some good news within that news. So, yes, hang around for that. I got to take the good with the bad, isn't that true? So, right, almost done here now, getting the top half of the grinder packed up. Just breaking out the stems. You don't want to put the stems into your grinder, like, you know what I mean? You got to remove that stuff, you know what I mean? Deliciosa. Oh, Irish is hosting the stream there over on Twitch. Nice one, Irish. Appreciate it as always. Always a great supporter of the show over there on Twitch. Whoa. This grinder as well, like, geez, she's been around for a while. I have to get my SSDP logo. I had an SSDP logo on the front of this there for years, but it just wore out because of just how long the sticker was there. Yes. Oh, absolutely delicious. Oh my goodness, this is just so sweet. Again, the green screen is going to do this no justice there on the screen, but goodness, absolutely amazing stuff. I wonder how easy it is there for me to disable my green screen. Will it let me? Oh. No, it won't let me. Never mind, we won't. We just have to bask in it through the green screen. Maybe it's for the better. Can't get pulled off of YouTube if the weed isn't there. Look, it's green screen. It's not really there. Yes. So right, enough of the messing around. Let's get down to business. Let's pack this bowl up. Again, shout out the Temple Grower guys over there on YouTube. You find this guy, and he was the breeder behind the genetics of this plant, and yeah, he did a pretty good job. Pretty good darn job. If I can wish, like, I'm small bit jealous there, TG, just a teensy little bit jealous, because, like, oh man, what I would give to be able to have the freedom to grow a couple of cannabis plants and to kind of say, like, yeah, I really like this one, and what would happen if I cross it with this one? What's going to be the outcome? What are going to be the progeny of that kind of an experiment? You know what I mean? And unfortunately, we just don't have the freedom here. To invest the time and the energy, the effort, and to acquire as well, the equipment to do that, because it's a big risk. cops kick in your door and they take away your grow setup. Like that could be about 1,000 quid's worth of equipment there, depending on how heavily invested you are into your grow. But anyway, oh man, I thought I brought up my hemp wick. Dagnabbit. Anyhow, we got an all-nighter anyway, nonetheless. Alright guys, welcome to the show. Fwetch is out in the audience. What's happening, Fwetch? Others in the audience, so you've got Hype out there, Peter Kelly, Dahi's in the audience, Sean M, what's going down? Paddy J, Green Tea, howdy to Green Tea. Guys, check out High and Homegrown there from last night as well. Great interview with Green Tea up there again. Doing the community proud, in fairness. Go on, Green Tea, up there speaking with an international panel of cannabis growers. Our very own Green Tea, who grows cannabis here in Ireland and has spoken out about it too on the national airwaves. So an absolute legend of a lady. So well done, Green Tea. It's an absolute honour to know you. John O'Dowd out there as well. Hunter K wants your fudge. Teresa, what's going on? R420 Supplies in the audience. Yes, what's going on, R420? R420.ie, guys, check it out. Mark Andrews in the audience. Or John O'Dowd, I think we've said John already. Yeah, we did. Pods, Steve Jones, Miss Dawes, JW Hillpower, what's happening? JW, he says, Story Martin, how are you keeping, bro? Hope everyone had a great weekend. I'm doing great, Joe, man. Nice one for asking, buddy. And the weekend was quite good. Just chilled out around the house. Just don't know from my new son. Yes, a rather enjoyable weekend indeed. Soul Rebel is in the audience. What's happening? Stefan Walsh, what's going on, Stefan? He says, Germany are legalising weed soon. How long before Ireland follows suit? Very soon, Stefan. I don't know, will we get full-blown legalisation, depending on what Gino Kenny's next move is, as that will kind of really define what way Ireland is going. I know last speaking to Gino Kenny, he said that he was going to try to follow the Luxembourg model, which is not like Germany's. Germany is talking about doing a 4-year research trial, which is how they're working around the kind of restrictions that are there with narcotics within Europe. If you're working with narcotics and under the guise of a research project, which Germany are going about, then they can technically, change their laws around cannabis, which is quite interesting. That's how they're posing it. It's a pilot program, it's a research project. That's what Germany are doing. They're not effectively legalizing cannabis, as more they're just carrying out a massive experiment for 4 years, and they're going to review it then at the end of the 4 years. But yeah, nonetheless, I think Ireland is going to be following maybe in the footsteps of Luxembourg, where we might decriminalise the production of cannabis in the home to a limited degree, and as well there'll be a possible decriminalisation of personal possession in Irish society as well. That's to be looked forward to next year, but hopefully maybe Gino Kenny might change his mind given Germany's stuff, and maybe just try to follow Germany and do another 4-year trial here in Ireland where we just legalise and regulate cannabis. Liam O'Gorman's out there. What's happening, Liam? Green Tea as well. Miss Dawes, CG, Constant Gardener, I believe, CG. Bridget Spalding, green greetings from Wexford as the sun goes down. Yes, it was a glorious day there, actually, indeed, here in Ireland. Beautiful blue sky. Crisp day though, it was very fresh out there. Quite chilly like. But nonetheless, got out for a run there earlier and really enjoyed that sunshine. Scrapsmith Morgan. Sound went on Facebook. Crap. Yeah, Facebook has been full of problems lately, guys. So if you're over there on Facebook, make sure to follow and subscribe there on YouTube or Twitch, whichever of the two you use. As it seems some of the people out there have been having some issues with Facebook lately, between kind of laggy streams, while it's fine over on YouTube and Twitch. And now, as Scrapsmith Morgan saying here, like that the sound is going. Pity. And yes, Steve Jones out there in Scals. Steve Jones says, enjoy the link up with Simpa. Yeah, guys, check that out already if you haven't done so already. The interview I got to do there the other morning with Simpa Carter over on the Simpa Live podcast. That's up online now as of this morning. So check that out. I really enjoyed that conversation with Simpa. We started out talking about myself, my actions here, cannabis legalization and stuff like that. And kind of halfway through, we got into the more existential stuff, esoterics, the talking about psychedelics, religion and stuff like that there towards the end of the conversation. But I really enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed the warm-up conversation we had beforehand, which unfortunately will not be going out to air, as it wasn't recorded. But I did get to have a good chat with Simpa beforehand, and yeah, it seems like we're kind of both on the same page on on quite a lot of things as well. But I won't say any more about the warm-up conversation. It was a really good one anyway. Check out the full conversation anyway over there online if you get the time later on. PB says, FYI, South Africa has decriminalised cannabis a few years ago. You're allowed to grow up to 3 plants at home. Nice one for that, PB. I wasn't aware of that actually in South Africa, the decriminalisation of small personal home grows there, up to 3 plants, you say. What's the kind of situation there in South Africa if you were to be caught, let's say if you grew your own cannabis, you had someone, let's say the UFC was on for argument's sake, and you're heading over to one of your buddies' place to watch the UFC, like, if the authorities smell cannabis off you, will they stop and search you? Like, if you get stopped and searched and they detect cannabis, like, how much is a problem? Like, if you have a couple of grams there, even if you had, like, maybe less than an ounce, let's say, because you were going over to your buddy's place, there was going to be 5 or 6 of you there, and you're the fellow who grows the cannabis. So you brought over a bit more, 10, 20 grams, let's say, is that a big problem? I'll keep an eye out for your reply there in the comments, PB, but I would be quite interested to know what that situation is around the decriminalisation in South Africa, because I wasn't too aware of it at all, and I'm just assuming that you're down there and you're up to speed in it. So do give us a bit of feedback there on to the personal possession aspects of the decriminalisation in South Africa, because it's amazing to hear that you can grow up to 3 plants, but it'd be even better to hear that you're able to kind of travel safely to friends' places, for social events with your cannabis, or even for medicinal use if you were to be traveling with it, so I would be interested to hear there, PB, if you can give us any comments back there at all. Oh, nice one. I see that comment coming in there now as well, PB. Really appreciate that. He says they'd leave you alone if you carry your stash. Yes, nice. That's good. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, nice one for that, PB. I really appreciate that feedback. So yeah, South Africa, guys, nice spot as well. I've never visited, but I've seen lots of pictures of down there, and absolutely stunning. So yes, nice one for that, PB. Really appreciate that. The international audience helping to get the knowledge out there to the people. If you want to travel around the world where you might be somewhat more tolerated, and that's good to know. And PB saying most of the big gangs have crumbled eventually. You see that this is also great to know, that even this small effort of decriminalisation in South Africa has led to a crumbling. They're not actually gone, I'd imagine. It's not as if they're completely gone or eradicated, but I imagine it's done a lot to the hamper their activities, because if me, you, or anybody else are able to grow their own cannabis, well, you don't have to be able to buy it off those gangs. So it's great there to see that that evidence is there within South Africa as well as the other places. We've seen that as well in places like Portugal and stuff like that. Yeah. Lads, none of the soccer talk out there now in the audience. Nice. A hype saying that United got demoted. And imagine you're on about Man United there anyway. And DB Woodcraft says he's a City fan, so he's having a good old laugh off of that then as well. Did they actually get, what was that, demoted? As in, they're relegated? Are they down into Division 1 now? That'd be news to me if it was. But last time I watched a soccer game was probably, God only knows actually. I can't even recall. It might have been like a World Cup game or something like that. The last soccer match I watched. Yeah. Yes, still got a little bit of this hash here as well. This is Purple Punch from Godfather Meds. Yes, absolutely delicious stuff, in fairness. Nice one, Godfather Meds. PB says, just don't flaunt it in the open. Don't show your stash. Some places tolerate smoking cannabis in their smoking zones, like places like nightclubs. Nobody's bothered. The local nursery sells starter kits. Interesting, yeah. So starter kits. So I would imagine that's like your pots and seeds. Like, yeah, I couldn't imagine that they're selling like clones or anything like that down there. But still, nonetheless, the starter kits are quite handy. Like there's always going to be a market there for gardening of cannabis, like regardless if it's been decriminalized or not. I know a few stores here in Ireland, and they're doing quite well. Shit, where did that go? Oops, a bit of hash there, just missed the ball. Oh well, I'll find it later, hopefully. Good lord, this is going to be a dangerous ball again. Be getting no news done. 20 minutes in and we haven't even read a headline. Sorry, guys. Everybody comes over for the news, and this is like 15, 20 minutes. uh, Kyron Darcy Lemay. If you get caught with 9 grams in Cove, your class as a major player. Cork Garda, hard on weed, less hard on other drug tramps. Well, come here, Kyron, man. We don't want to be looking down on other people who use drugs, because that doesn't make us. That makes us just as bad as the prohibitionists, because there's people out there who would look down their nose, who enjoy alcohol, and they'll be like, well, our drug is legal. We're not like those illegal drug users. We wouldn't be any better than these kind of ignorant people. Like, so, yeah, I would definitely not look down on other people, and even the people kind of selling those other drugs then as well. I know there's a negative thing out there about like the drug dealing within neighborhoods and stuff, but somebody's gotta sell it. Like, somebody's going to sell it. There's always a demand there, and when you look into it, like the reasons why people do it, it's quite interesting. Like, but yeah, like we just need a decriminalization of all drugs, and for people to be able to get access to their drug of choice, in a safe and effective manner, where we don't create these fucking scumbags who basically take dudes' fucking welfare to, their dole cards, and all this shit. Like, are dudes out there taking advantage of fucking people as well, making them false promises and all of this shit. Like, oh man, there's some nasty stuff going on out there at the moment. Like, people. I'm not even going to get into it. I'm not even going to get into it because, yeah, it'll only piss me off, and I'll start ranting and raving, and we'll get no news done. Right, let's blaze this one up anyway, guys. Little civil disobedience here on the 420 news. As always, yes, you can't see that over the fucking green screen. Damn it. It's a hype. You never walk alone. Yes. And PB says, yes, pot, seeds, plant food, guides, everything. Plenty older people started to grow on their own, and the younger ones would provide / sell to the elderly too. Very nice. That's cool. Like that, there's a cool little community down there as well, where some of the older people are growing their own cannabis, but also, there's the younger generation are looking after the older generation too, as it should be, as it should be. Eleanor Simmons, I do not think I could go abroad with the different laws. I would not risk it. Yeah, some places are definitely not worth the risk at all. But it's always good to get informed anyway, at least before you travel. Like when I went to Thailand, I only smoked when I went to Phi Phi Island. Like when we were in Phuket, I didn't even bother even going looking for cannabis. I was just like, no way, man! I go buy some cannabis off a dude, and then he's going to be down to the local cop shop. He'll tell them I have some cannabis, and they'll come up and set me up. Like, I was just like, nah, not a hope, man. So we had a nice old tolerance break there, and was nicely rewarded at the stopover in Amsterdam on the way home. Good lord, those tolerance breaks are real. Yes, civil disobedience commencing on the ball, Billy Bonds. All right, all is forgiven, Billy. All right, I will forgive you for killing me. I'll forgive you. All right, but just don't kill me anymore, buddy. Next time somebody asks you to kill me, like, and even if it's flip the coin, just refuse to get involved. Just tell them you quit. Concede, all right? Concede. Let me win. But yes, blaze on off here. Civil disobedience commencing. Oh, so tasty. Just go on. Goodness gracious me. That was delicious. Yes, indeedy. Nice one to Godfather Meds there for the old cocktail in my bowl today. Dublin Dahi, what's happening? Dublin Dahi. I was reading recently an elderly lady is freaked out of her skull as she grows weed for her husband as he's got a life-altering illness. No pharmaceuticals help his issues. Weed is the way forward. Interesting, Dahi. You might have also heard our fellow listener here and fellow campaigner, Green Tea. Green Tea was also speaking out there recently, and very much similar situation here, except Green Tea is a young lady who grows for her husband who has a life-altering condition, and the pharmaceuticals and even the cannabis now even are becoming less and less effective. But up until that still is to say that cannabis is helping. Without it would be a lot worse. But even at that now, it's kind of his condition is getting to a point where it's not as effective as it once was. So it'll be interesting to see there and what happens after that. After Green Tea speaks out, hopefully there's going to be more done, and that there's a pathway opened up there for the likes of Green Tea and this other elderly lady to get safe and effective access to cannabis for their partners. And then if it is done by growing, they shouldn't be criminals for doing so. They should be given a license to do so legally. Green Tea does a fucking stand-up job there. That cannabis she grows looks tremendous. So yes, Green Tea should be given a license as well as this other elderly lady and anybody else who wishes to grow cannabis for their loved one, if they would so wish. Obviously, the best way to get it is from a professional. But unfortunately, because of Prohibition, you have to be your own professional. Darren Newcomb, is there any more protests coming up, Martin? Planning one for next Wednesday, Wednesday week actually, sorry, the 1st of December. The 1st of December is a date to be remembered, I suppose, because it's the day when in 1955 Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on the bus. So that was a very defiant act of civil disobedience, because her crime, sitting in the white section of the bus, like there was nobody going to be victimized by this. Society at large wasn't at risk. Although there's racists out there who say, well, no, the civil rights movement ripped us apart. Now the whites or the black people are equal to us, but you're a racist scumbag if you think like that. But yes, anyway, her act of civil disobedience was the spark, that was basically lit the powder keg that just blew up the civil rights movement. It just blew up then at that stage. It just literally grew exponentially. The support that movement got was just tremendous after those acts of civil disobedience of Rosa Parks. And so on the 1st of December, to remember Rosa Parks and her actions, I will be engaging in an act of civil disobedience of my own. And there was an intended protest going to be organised for above in Dublin, but as I'm going to be otherwise engaged later that day on Wednesday, the protest now, unfortunately, for myself anyway, is going to be restricted to Cork. I hope others out there within the Cannabis to Activist Alliance will enact this protest themselves in other places. But the 1st of December, guys, Rosa Parks Day, let's call it. And let's remember her by engaging in our own civil disobedience for our own human rights, like she did all those years ago. And let's not be feared of the consequences that come with that, because she wasn't then, and look at what that resulted in. And look what it could result in if we make that bold stand and stand up for our rights, which are being trampled all over as a result of this prohibition of cannabis. Stephen Walsh, hi Martin, just wondering, do you ever use the dark web to get your weed, or do you always source locally? Source locally, buddy. Got a buddy who does some tremendous growing, and got some other buddies out there who do some tremendous breeding. But yes, everybody should be honestly growing their own and like looking after their friends, creating these little community collectives, where you're getting the cannabis as close to the source as possible, and distancing yourselves then from the black market that's out there, and supporting local communities too as well, because I know when I get cannabis from my friend, that if I was to give that person any money, that person would be using that money to provide for their family, to provide, that to cover the cost of the production, and nothing nefarious. Whereas I can't really say the same if I'm buying cannabis from an unknown source who might be bringing it in from the likes of John Gilligan, So just think about it. Unfortunately, I've used the dark web. Don't get me wrong, I've used it in the past, and I would definitely recommend it if it's. I would recommend that outside of going onto the street and buying it from an unknown source. Get it from your friends if you know friends. But at the same time, don't be just going asking randomers in the street. If you're going asking randomers in the street, then use the dark web, because the review fucking service up there is tremendous. Paddy J says, as Joe Rogan would say, can you put the mic closer to your mouth? I have the headphones on, but struggling to hear. Might be just me. Could be just you. I'm just looking at my soundbar there now as well, and yeah, it's okay. I might just bump it up a little bit, guys. So apologies if I was on the low side for many other people out there, but nice one, Paddy J. There we go. So we've just bumped up the microphone just ever so slightly there now, so hopefully it come through a bit more clearer to you guys. Others out there, straw clips, pick up growing. It's a great hobby, and keep yourself self-sufficient. There you go, guys. And I have to warn you, if you start growing your own cannabis, it is a gateway. It's a gateway to growing other things. I was a victim to that. I started growing cannabis many years ago, and while I was growing cannabis, then I couldn't help but I was picking up herb pots from the local shop. I had my thyme, parsley, and stuff like that all growing around the house. Before I knew it, I had aloe vera. I've now since ceased growing cannabis, but I still have a polytunnel out my back garden that's got tomatoes still today. Still got tomatoes out the back garden right now, the 27th of November, and there's a few tomatoes left to be picked out there. The chili plants gave up long ago, but the tomatoes are doing well. We've had onions, spuds, yeah, we've had quite a bit come out about there, but yeah, that was the gateway effect of cannabis growing. Yes, stab better, Paddy J. Not a bother. It must be the knockoff cheap ass Chinese headphones I got from Wish. Could be. Right, let's get stuck into the news, guys, because geez, we're 30 minutes in and I haven't done a single headline because we're having too much crack here with the chats and bants. So let's crack on. The first headline I have for you today, guys, is the Cannabis Fundraiser, or the raffle, the fundraiser for Chase. Is it coming up? Boom. Oh no, I didn't make a lower third for this one. But yes, the fundraiser is still active up there, guys. We've about maybe just over half of the tickets still available if anybody would like to pick up a ticket. There's 3 amazing prizes, so by buying 1 ticket, you've a 1 in 3. Well, you've a chance to win 1 of 3 of those prizes. Each one is equal in value, and they're all the same pretty much. They're worth €100 depending on who you ask. But I'm going to pop the picture up on screen, even though many of you out there have probably seen this already. Where is he? There we go. Boom. Excellent. Slavish stuff. So there's me, stone looking dog Chase, and Chase recently had to go to the vets and get a CT scan done. This one I had an unexpected $700 cost with it, so that had a dent into the old savings there for the Christmas funds. And as a cool way of trying to just recoup those funds, thought I'd run this really nice fundraiser raffle where you can get your hands on an epic prize. Again, these are mystery prizes, and use your imagination. I'm sure you'll be able to guess what those prizes might be, and again, cash alternatives are available there too. As I said, the prize is worth €100. So there's 3 prizes there. Once all of the tickets are sold, we'll go ahead with the raffle live on air here. We'll hit the live button, and we'll do it the raffle via a random number generator. Numbers 1 to 70, and we'll see those numbers coming out here live on air. So yes, there's a good couple of numbers there over the 30s are a bit free. There's a good old gap there between 50 and 70. So yes, guys, do get in touch if anybody wants to secure a number there. Three amazing prizes. So again, the prize pool there is over €300. Each one of these prizes as well comes with 2 packs of raw connoisseurs, 20 or king size, with the tips as well. I believe there's 50 tips on them. So a nice old prize there as well as the €100 mystery brown envelopes. Right, so that is the first headline there for you anyway. And the next one, guys, we're going to go to the Cork, where a Cork student, he was up in court recently after he told a garda to beep off before speeding away in a BMW. This is a case here in Cork where a senior garda who was questioning a man who had to take evasive action to avoid being hit by the car door as the vehicle sped away with the driver telling the officer to F off. This is a case where Liam Edwards, who is from Ross Carbery but now living in Ringaskiddy, he pleaded guilty to dangerous driving earlier this year and had already pleaded guilty to a separate drug driving charge also. This happened at 10:30 on May 28 last year, when the Sergeant Michael Lyons was on patrol in an unmarked vehicle and he saw the grey BMW exit SuperValu car park in Bandon at speed. The Garda activated the siren and blue lights and stopped the car and spoke to the driver. Sergeant Kelly and Detective Garda Lyons would say that he could smell cannabis coming out of the car and asked Edwards 20 to turn off the engine, which he did. However, Sergeant Kelly said Edwards, a student at the Marine Institute in Ringaskiddy, was uncooperative and told Detective Garda Lyons to F off before starting the engine and driving off at high speed. Detective Garda Lyons had to take quick action to avoid being hit by the open door of the car, the court was told. And the Garda lost sight of Edwards' vehicle as it drove towards Kilbrittain, but Edwards was later identified and charged when he presented himself at Bandon Garda Station by arrangement, making full admission. His solicitor, Plunkett Taft, said his client did not recall the incident in the same way as outlined in court, and that there was no smell of cannabis, and that he told the Garda not to, or that he told the Garda to F off. So yeah, he's saying that he didn't tell the cop to F off. So the Garda was lying. There wasn't a smell of cannabis, and I didn't tell him to F off. And I didn't speed off either. Like, and my door was closed when I wasn't speeding off, because I didn't speed off with the door open. Like, because I drove off calmly. While wishing the officer have a nice day. It's funny, he went in there, he contested, the guard's story. The Edwards had a previous conviction for drug driving, which had resulted in a 1-year disqualification from driving. And on this second occasion, that disqualification has now been increased to 4 years, and he was also fined €200. There's also a probation report to be prepared for the court on January 17th next year, and this was to include 2 random urine analysis samples, but on December and January, and the judge also granted legal aid. So interesting, he could be actually imprisoned as well, in a later case. But on the earlier case, the judge is just kind of like, yeah, 4 years, boom, straight off the road. in fairness, that's not too bad. Like, the 4 years, like, you get that for just driving over. Like, if a guard says, oh, he's stoned out of his mind, like, the guard will give you 4 years off the road for that. Like, this guy endangered the life of a member of a Gardaí. He only got 4 years. Like, how is that the equivalent of driving really stoned? It's not. Like that guy really, in reality, if our justice system was anyway effective here, like, he endangered the life of a cop by speeding away from a search. Like, he should have been getting like a minimum, like a 10-year driving ban, like a minimum 10 years driving ban. like a 4-year driving ban for what he done effectively is a slap on the wrist. Like, we don't know how much cannabis he actually had in the car at the time. If there was a smell of cannabis coming out of the car, he could have got a couple of keys in the back, like. And this again just re-emphasises why we need to end this silly prohibition of cannabis, because people are willing to put the lives of others in danger in order to get themselves out of harm's way. In that situation, if the guy happened to have a couple of kilos in the back, he didn't care if he was going to drive over that cop. you know, in reality, if he was telling the cop to F off and he was speeding off, like taking complete disregard for the safety there of that cop who was, you know, doing, again, only doing his job. You have to kind of, I hate saying that myself. But again, you know, nonetheless, I think he got very, very lucky in this case. And yeah, just that alone, the smell of cannabis, and a guard, you know, threatening to search a person's car was enough to trigger that person to speed away from the scene. Just goes to show, you know, why the guards should not be the people policing drug use in our society at all. Do you know, if anything, you know, just make sure people are not driving off their faces. Do your mandatory drug test, but make sure it's actually evidence based, not this zero tolerance approach that you currently have. But that's where it stops then. Like whether I've used cannabis earlier in the day or not is irrelevant. It's none of their business. But whether I'm impaired in my ability to drive, then that actually is their business, and I do think they should be policing that. But the current approach is zero tolerance, and it's not reflective of actually what's in the best interest of public safety. But we drive on from that one. Yes, unexpected pun there. But the next case, sticking with Cork, not driving too far, where a man was found with €8,000 worth of cannabis, and he's after avoiding prison. This is below in Cove. Shout out there to Kyron, where he was caught with more than €8,000 worth of cannabis. In total, he was caught with 412 grams of cannabis and also €1,800 in €50 notes. This is the case of Michael Hogan, who's 38 years of age, living in Cove, and he pleaded guilty at the Cork Circuit Criminal Court, as you know, this couldn't be heard at the District Court because I believe the District Court, if you're over a certain amount, I think if your case is over like $5,000, they can't do you in the District Court. Do you have to go to the Circuit Court because of the value of the drug seized? I believe so. I could be wrong. But anyhow, he was up in the Circuit Court, which is a higher up court than the District Court. Again, more costs associated with that. I would wonder, does a judge get paid more for being on the Circuit Court than a District Court judge? Like, I would imagine they probably do. But anyway, let's not get too far off in this. The most serious count to which he pleaded guilty was that he had over 400 grams of cannabis for sale and supply in his home December 16, 2019. Again, December 16th, you know, just thinking about that, he's preparing for Christmas. Like, I don't know if this dude has got kids or what the story was there, like, but fucking a big upset to the community at that time. 412 grams of cannabis would have been really enjoyed during the Christmas time. Wouldn't have done no harm to anybody anyway, that's for sure. Would have made it very nice and festive. But the detective Garda Kelleher said the warrant was obtained on that day due to conduct a search. The warrant was for, and I give you an address here, including 3 acres of land where Mr. Hogan lives, and there are some mobile homes on the land, and the cannabis was found in the mobile homes. He admitted holding drugs for someone else, and the only admission to supply was that he was going to give them back to that same person. So they done him for drug supply and that reason, because he was holding them for somebody and he was going to give them back to him. It's like, well, that's supply. There you go. Like, you just admitted the supply. He said the cash was his lifelong savings, and Gardaí believed the money was from drugs. There was no documentation to show where the money is from, and he had 2 previous convictions for having drugs for his own use as well. The DPP directed the case could be dealt with summarily. Jeez, I'm getting so tongue-tied here on these. Summarily at District Court level, but the District Court judge declined to accept jurisdiction, so it was sent forward to the Cork Circuit Criminal Court. So there you go, like there's the judge refusing to accept jurisdiction, and I would imagine, again, based upon the value of the drugs, that's why the judge refused to accept jurisdiction. Again, he's like, this is too big for me. I believe this guy is going to deserves a punishment beyond that which I can give here in this court. I was there for a few of these kind of hearings in the past, so I've heard judges say just that. Defence Barrister Donal O'Sullivan, and it wasn't my case as well, other people's cases. Defence Barrister Donal O'Sullivan said the defendant had been attending Arbour House Treatment Centre. So here we go again, like another like in person up on drug charges, using the treatment centres as a means to kind of, oh, look at me, I have a drug problem, I'm trying to get help. But the only thing he's trying to get help with is actually the outcome of his court case. It's not actually any real drug problem. the guy got caught with a bit of cannabis. Like, come on, in fairness now, like you won't mind, like, if they caught him, like, off his face with a load of coke, like, and people trying to kick in his door, like, bloodied up, like, or something, and then you believe maybe he's a drug addiction and that he needs help. But he got caught with cannabis. The only thing he's fucking help with here, and apologies for the language, is the outcome of his court case. And we're paying for that then as well, I would imagine. Like, maybe the guy had, like, maybe the family threw a couple of grand there towards him. I think, like, a stint in Arbor House is like 5 grand or something like that, if you to pay for it yourself. So I don't know, did fucking this Mr. Hogan dude have about 5 grand lying around, or family willing to give it to him, like, to get him in there? But most likely, that was probably through a public health placement, went in, oh, well, the guards referred him there or some shite like that. I don't know how that actually works. But again, I would imagine we pay for many people. If we're not paying for this guy, we're certainly paying for other people out there who really, in reality, they don't need help with their drug problem. They just need help with the outcome of their court case. And going to one of these places is seen to be a favourable thing to do. The defence barrister said of the accused, he would have mental health difficulties. He went for treatment before he was even charged. He has been abstinent from cannabis. Mr. O'Sullivan said it could have been contested by the defence that there was an arguable point in relation to the warrant, and it could have been challenged on technical grounds. However, the barrister said when the accused was advised of this, he told his counsel he accepted what he did, and he was not looking for a way out. So interesting, like, he was actually told that, come here, you could argue this on, like, a technicality of law around the warrant, that the warrant actually wasn't legitimate, and people have gotten off in this, like, in lots of cases before, but this guy was just kind of like, no, I'm going to go guilty, like, fair play to him, like, in fairness, like, like, he's repenting. The judge, Helen Boyle, considered the submissions and said in all the circumstances a sentence of 2 years suspended was appropriate. So a 2-year suspended sentence handed down to Mr. Hogan for the €8,000 worth of cannabis and the drug money as well. He didn't do too bad, but who did bad? Oh, we did. We paid for the judge. We paid for probably the free legal aid. We paid for his treatment. We paid for the guards. We paid for his transport, probably if he had to be brought by prison bus or anything like that. Like, any of these things. We paid for this as taxpayers. He's winning. He got a 2-year suspended sentence. He's smiling. He's delighted. He's down home having a big spliff now again. He's like, that's the job. I don't even have to do any more drug tests. Yes, boys. Come on, like, somebody's out there now and they know this guy and they're like, yes, he's fucking right, he knows he is. I just had a smoke with Mikey last night. Mikey's just fucking stone off his head. He didn't even get up yet this morning. He's smoking so much last night. Do but what a joke, right? What a joke. When you think about the health service as it is at the moment, the trolley crisis that's going on out there, the mental health service in Ireland at the moment, the two-tier system that there is there at the moment. If you want to go get what's that MRI, you might be waiting there sometimes 6 months to 2 fucking years. But if you got, I don't know, is it 250 quid in your pocket there, you can go down the road to a private clinic and get it done there, no bothers. And that's all well and good, 250 quid, it's not too out of reach, like, but still it's a bit of money. But, like, you have to wonder why these guys are able to do it so quickly, and meanwhile your health service, it's you have to wonder, But anyway, I'm just kind of pointing out what a waste, and yeah, it'll continue. There's going to be more like it. There's going to be more cases like this tomorrow and the day after, and until we change these fucking backwards, archaic laws. But interestingly, very interestingly, is the next headline, guys. So I hope, and wow, what a big audience, 62 of you out there, guys. Hi to all 62 of you guys. Nice one, everybody, for tuning in. But this next one, a Sinn Féin TD, TD Violet Ann Wynne. She's a TD from which area, actually? No, apologies. I'm going to have a quick look to figure out which area this TD was. Sitting in Ennis, so, or no, that was the court. Sorry, no, I'm just going to see where she's a TD. Deputy Violet Ann Wynne. is a TD in the constituency, Clare constituency, County Clare. So County Clare. And yes, as it was pointed out there in a few seconds ago, they were sitting in. Oops. Sorry there, no. I'm just going to get this up there again on screen. Shit. Yes. Kinsale drug dealer. We'll get on to the Sinn Féin TD after this one. Balls, anyway, I messed that one up. I knew I'd messed that one up because I was looking at my notes and I'd seen this headline and I was just like, shit, where is that one? I never included that one. I overrid it with the Sinn Féin one, but I never put in the Sinn Féin lower third. My bad anyway, guys. Blooper. But anyway, a Kinsale drug dealer claims that €3,000 in cash for shopping was for shopping with her kids, and the judge made a claim that that's not a credible claim at all. This is a case coming out of Kinsale where the woman who was convicted of selling drugs was caught later on with €3,100 in her car, for which she said she was planning to use for a shopping spree for her kids. The judge forced her to forfeit the money in court, saying that the explanation was not credible. This is the case of Kee McGill, who we covered her story there a couple of months ago. When she was caught, again, I believe it was about €8,000 or €9,000 worth of cannabis that was hidden in a barbecue on her property. This was below in Kinsale. So the cops kind of, they went away and they've been following her now or whatever, and they found her in possession of $3,000. Although it mightn't have been for her kids, like that could have been probably to pay off the debt there related to the large amount of cannabis that was taken off her. Like, how much trouble could she be in there with some heavies out there? Like, I'm hearing stories here in Cork from one woman, who was threatened that, like, if she doesn't provide such and such, that the people, that there'll be people down at their door with guns and stuff like this. And this is all related to cannabis. Like, I wonder, is Kee McGill getting the same threats there? Of come here, like, if you don't, give us whatever there, like, or prove to us something, we're going to be down at your door and we're going to give you, if you don't give us the $3,000 or the $8,000 you owe us there for the cannabis, we're going to be down at your door with the guns. Like, that's messed up kind of stuff to be going on out there. Kee McGill got an 18-month suspended sentence when she was back in court, when she was in court there a couple of months ago for the cannabis. At 18 months, she got an 18-month jail sentence with another 18 months suspended, actually. Sorry. So she actually is serving 18 months in prison. So it's messed up, really. Like, you can go read that story there if you want in its entirety. It's over on Irish Examiner. That's where it was first posted up there. That was posted up there on Saturday. It's a lengthy enough article up there. I'm not going to read out the whole lot of it there, but I'm going to dive into the next one though, because I wanted to dive into this one. I was eager to deal with this next one because I believe this will be a very interesting one. There we go. This is, yes, partner of Clare TD to contest charges for alleged drugs possession. And this is the case of TD Violet and Wynn's partner. His name is Jonathan Montaigne, or John Montaigne. And I have a picture here of the family. Actually, I'll pop the family's picture up online, and this was a public picture as well, so I'm sure they won't be too bothered by me having this up there. Yeah, it's not popping up there now, so I'll just open it through the Chrome. I'm going to find that photo there now for you guys. Oh, I had a photo. There it is. Yes, this is the one I had. It was up in the Clare Champion. Because it was a very nice photo, in fairness, of Violet and her family. So there's a picture of Violet and her partner John, And there are many kids there as well: Carly, Travis, Grace, Ethan, and Nicholas. And again, I sympathise a lot here now with Violet Ann. But again, at the same time, you just have to be. I really do wonder now where would this will lead for Violet. Will she become more prominent on this, or will this be something that'll be just brushed under the rug and she'll remain very quiet? Because her partner suffers with seizures. He's got epilepsy, and cannabis has been very beneficial for his epilepsy. He's been, I believe, she says he's been seizure free for over a year, I believe, within the article. If you want to go up and read it at length. But this is one of our sitting TDs here in Ireland, guys. Right, this is one of our TDs. And her partner now has gotten caught with some cannabis. How much cannabis he was caught with, I'm not too sure. Has it been mentioned within it? It said it was a minor drug possession charge. That's kind of all I've really seen here within it. So it's very interesting again in this case how they treat this person because of who he is and who he's related to. They haven't released any information as they would if it was me or you. If it was me or you, they would tell him what colour grinder they caught us with. Like here, they're not even telling us how much cannabis he was actually caught with. So it's very interesting. A minor drugs charge, so obviously personal possession of cannabis, and he was using it for medicinal reasons, although he didn't have legitimate access to it. It was an illegal form of access. He was getting it through the black market. So I'm going to be doing my part. I'm going to reach out there to Violet and to see if I can have a chat with her partner as well, John, because I'd be very interested to see, what's next. Like, where's like Sinn Féin? Where's their stance on this? Like, I know they support medical cannabis, like, but in John's case, like, why isn't he availing of the ministerial access program? Like, why not? It's you just have to wonder why isn't this TD, like a TD, making sure her partner's gotten a legal form of access? Like, meanwhile, we're doing all our campaigning throughout all of last year. Meanwhile, this TD is sitting there ignoring the campaign that could be so beneficial to her partner and his condition. Why? What's wrong with us? Why won't you walk alongside us and fly this flag with us? Like, okay, I know you're bound to Sinn Féin, but look, you've no choice now actually what to come out, or do you? Like, will this be something that'll be just dealt with quietly? We won't maybe see another headline like this. We might see one more as it goes away. The case is being dismissed on because he's got a medical condition. But yeah, very interesting to see. He's been granted legal aid as well in this case, which is very interesting too. Obviously, I don't know, is the legal aid means tested or whatever, but they said that he was a suitable candidate for legal aid. But our TDs, like, I would have thought, like, because of his partner being a TD, she probably would have been getting paid too much for him to get legal aid. But look, I won't comment any more on that because I don't know what their living situation might be or what's going on there. So speaking on Wednesday, Miss Wynne confirmed Mr. Montaigne will be contesting the drug summons before the court, adding that she did not wish to comment further on the case as it remains before the court. So, like, on reading that then as well, there's my hopes of having any communications with them. But nonetheless, the invitation is open, and I will be definitely communicating with our office and seeking some comment on it. In regards to the campaign that's going there, Gino Kenny's bill, the Citizens Assembly. It'll be interesting to know kind of where Miss Violet Anne's position lies in this. The case has been adjourned anyway by Judge Mary Larkin until January 18th, when it'll be back up for hearing. Miss Wynne explained the prior medication that Mr. Montaigne was on reduced his calcium levels and bone density, weakening his teeth. She also said it is a huge issue for John personally, that it is something that has recently affected his confidence and it's brought difficulties and issues for him, and that this is a hard to watch for someone you love, because he's only left with a handful of teeth at this stage over past seizures he suffered with. She says that cannabis has been, the medical cannabis he's been using has really given a better quality of life to John due to his condition. So again, it's amazing. These people, like, she's sitting in a position of power as such, she's within her government. Gino Kenny's bringing this up, others are like, well, what way does our government actually operate? Like, really? What way does it actually operate? Like, if you're a woman out there, like, and you're living with your partner, and he suffers with a condition, and he has to get access to this plant material illegally, and if he gets caught with it, he can end up in court, and you've done nothing about it now until he's gotten caught with it. What kind of a world are we living in? But I think this is a very, like, as bad as it is for the family and all involved, I think this is a very positive thing here for the movement as such, because, like, this is really going to open up a doorway for conversation, because you should hope now that above there in Dáil Éireann and stuff, that she will open up the door, the conversation with people, to kind of say, like, or people will say it to her, hey, I've seen that article about your partner. Gee, he suffers with the epilepsy and he uses cannabis illegally. Is it good? Does it work? Oh my God, yeah. And it's like illegal cannabis. Wow, And it's 420. Yes, whoop whoop. 420. Blaze on up. Whoop. I'll have to get a little button over there for the 420 bell. Oh yes, we'll pack a bowl. We'll pack a bowl, and we'll send our regards out there to John and to Violet. My sympathy goes to you. While you be critical of your position, and your silence all along. I have to really wonder why you were silent all along. But look, I can't help but sympathise with you as well. At the same time, this prohibition, the stigma, I can understand as well why you might remain silent. You didn't want to out yourselves, And imagine how many others are out there, or that don't want to out themselves, who aren't TDs. Yes. Hit that like button, guys. Yes, go on. Nice one, Mackie. See how and homegrown hitting that like button out there. Nice. Gonna pack up some hash there, guys, while you hit that like button, because I know you're all after enjoying 420 already. I was too busy ranting and raving. I fucking even messed up lining up the news and almost skipped the headline there over it. Oh my goodness, man! Even when you're just pulling this hash apart, it smells so nice. Like, that hash smell. Oh. And here's a little science for you guys, if you want. And this is just like off the top of my head. I believe it was in 2018. I think it was maybe 2017, 2018. There was a paper published. It was a research that was done in, I believe it was done in France, and they were testing hash samples, and they tested hash samples, I believe, from different regions of the world that were like seized by the authorities, and they were able to find a presence of a compound from the Moroccan varieties. I believe it was most prevalent in the Moroccan varieties. And what they put it down to, and the compound was called, I believe they named it hashinine. I believe it was a new type of terpene, and it was they believe it was formed due to the way in which the farmers dry the cannabis there in Morocco. Apparently in Morocco, in a lot of places, they have like these corrugated tin roofs, and a lot of them will like put the cannabis on top of the corrugated tin roofs, and the heat, the sunshine, the interaction there with the environment, that would cause the development there of this new compound known as hashinine that would be present then in the hash afterwards. So there you go. That's just a little bit of knowledge there, just off the top of my head, something that just came into my head as I was getting those lovely smells coming up there out of the hash. Yeah, exactly, Paddy J as well. Perfect opportunity for the Sinn Féin to step up to the cannabis plate. Sorry for shouting. It's okay. It's okay. Just try to use your inside voice next time. He wrote in all caps there as well, like, so that's why he was apologising for shouting. Yes, love the sense of humour. But yeah, it's true. It really is time for Sinn Féin to step up to the cannabis plate now. We look at what Germany is doing. Germany is not legalizing cannabis for the money side of it. It's for the kind of the anti-criminal side of it. It's to disempower the organised crime gangs out there that are really propped up because of the prohibition of cannabis. If I grow a bit of cannabis, if you grow some cannabis out there, and if you supply a small few friends, you know, you're not like, again, as I say, that money goes back into the community. You're probably going to look after your family, you know, look after yourself, look after your local economy. Whereas, you know, some of the more organised crime gangs bringing the cannabis in from abroad, buying it in from the likes of John Gilligan. Yes. Paul Leftwick, he says, and to wear a COVID mask and to be charged for smoking harmless cannabis is pure Nazi. Times are Russian roulette. Vaccine is legal. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, we won't go down that. We're going down that road. But yeah, I still haven't gotten the vaccine yet, and I'm kind of glad I haven't either. Kind of hearing some of the stuff out there. I'm gonna hope and pray that they come up with this antiviral drug and it's gonna be more available than the vaccine, or more better than the vaccine. Um, but yeah, I just, like, I was listening to Joe Rogan earlier. He was on with I think it was a Peter Thea, but they were talking about this free diver guy who got vaccinated and he's after developing myocarditis. Like one of the rare few who gets it. Like, but it's crazy that they hear how his heart like character has changed. You know, from a resting heart rate of like the kind of the high 30s to now having a resting heart rate in like the 60s, 70s, and an active heart rate going from like the 60s jumping up to like the hundreds. And he was saying like at one dinner he was had a heart rate of like 177. And it's all down to the a reaction to the vaccine. I'm just like, oh, oh shit! All my viewers are going away. What just happened? It is a joke. All right, let's blaze this one up anyway. We leave the vax talk alone, because yeah, that's not a topic I really want to be going through too much on the show. You know, it is something I'd love to be able to get stuck into it, but I just don't want to like divide people. You know, maybe we can do like a conspiracy hour, and we can have a bit of a crack and a joke there about it. You know, because I do have a couple of opinions there, and I know a few of you do as well out there. So maybe it's something for stoner talk. Let's blaze on up. Paddy J, watch all the shouting now, are the old heavies there are going to pounce on you. Yeah, Teresa, you see, this is the kind of talk, or the stuff I would definitely think that that kind of line of thought as well. But we just won't put it in here because people will be like, look at us stoners and the conspiracies. I'm gonna hit this before it all smolders. Goodness me. Adam O'Brien says smoking weed and conspiracies are a match made in paranoid heaven. I think if anything, they're just funny to kind of entertain, you know. Oh. But right. We still got a couple out in the audience, and we haven't lost too many. But we jump on from Ireland, guys, and we go to Spain. We're over in Spain. The Spanish authorities have found some devil's lettuce, as cannabis was found hidden amongst the lettuce and cannabis that was bound for Dublin, our very own Dublin, yes. The authorities over there, they they came by this, right? By chance. It's kind of funny when you read the article. It's like, are they taking a stab at the Irish here? As it's like the a drunken Irishman arrives. I'll actually get into the article there now to see how it reads. Um, the authorities in Spain, yes, the drug, according to the police reports over there, The cops came across the cannabis seizure when they came across an Irishman and a Britishman and the Costa Blanca area after a routine traffic accident uncovered nearly 4 kilos of cannabis in the back of a lorry. So this lorry was being driven by a British man, and the British man crashed the lorry. But after crashing the lorry, the cops showed up. They found the guy who was driving the lorry without a license. So along comes this Irishman, but the Irishman was drunk. So they were like, no, you're not having, like, you're not taking this, we're going to take it. And then they look in the back of it, they find 4 kilos of the cannabis. And then along comes this Bulgarian lorry driver who was parked up nearby, and he was kind of asking the cops, oh, what's going on here? Like, can you give me some details about what's going on or something like? And they were just kind of like, oh, who are you? You were with these guys? We're going to search your truck. And they found another 450 kilos of cannabis in the back of his truck. So a massive seizure, and like, honestly, like, if you had like a dumbest criminals show going out there at the moment right now, like, this would be it. Like, what was the Bulgarian fella thinking, going over asking questions, like, when he's got 450 kilos of cannabis in the back of his truck? Seriously, like, talking about a gift for the cops, like, easy. Unfortunate for the Irish market. The cannabis was made up of 300 kilos of cannabis herb and 150 kilos of cannabis in the resin form, so hash. Yes, the stuff we were talking about there. Probably some of that lovely Moroccan too, like, oh, what a heartbreaker. You could only hope there that the authorities over there are actually corrupt as fuck, and that cannabis actually just finds its way back out to the market and gets enjoyed by people who will appreciate it. Because you'd hate to think like that all of this is just gonna be ruined up in smoke, the smoke just to go up some chimney and not to hit the single cell of anyone's lung, you know. A real heartbreaker. In total here, they value the cannabis at just under €840,000. So just shy of €1 million for this seizure. What a heartbreaker. What an absolute heartbreaker. Like, what are the Spanish doing over there at the moment? Like, you look at this seizure there, like look what they could be exporting. And look at, like, Ireland, like, fair enough, like for us, if this is all destined for Ireland, if it was going from Spain to Ireland, like, that would have to have been getting consumed here in Ireland. You put a 23% tax on that, like, and you're talking like €250,000 there for the Irish taxpayers. Like, well, why aren't we availing of this? Why are we wasting the opportunity of this? We are crying out for just people like me and many others out there, you know, making noise about this. Again, shout out to Albert Teo and to some of the other activists across the rest of Europe too. Like, we are not alone in this. Like, there's many of us out there. It's just that we're being ignored. Like, these stunts that I pulled there recently, that gets their attention, you know, it brings them to it. But, like, you know, if you go do these little Twitter campaigns, if you go wave a little placard and march down, we marched down the busiest street in Dublin, like the main shopping street in Dublin, and it barely got covered by the media. Barely got covered. Like, we went down there the middle of the day, and it barely got covered. A couple of hundred of us, like, and it was a great protest. Like, it got great coverage over on TikTok. A video that got nearly 250,000 views or something like that within 48 hours that it was up. But the media by and large ignored it. It wasn't until I started pulling some stunts, you know, sending joints, planting cannabis plants, you know, being bold and brazen and just being like, yes, bring your own cannabis to the protest. That got the national media attention as well. You have to be bold. You have to be really just pushing the boundaries as far as you can, because, again, like, if you believe that what you're doing is not a crime, then why are you afraid to do it? Because you might get punished for it. But what if you don't what if you don't challenge it? Then that punishment is forever going to be there. You're going to let somebody else get punished for it? Come on, let's all stand up together, and like, together, united we stand, together we're stronger. All of that stuff that they've been saying, man, there's truth to it. If we unite, like, that's the thing that the government are most afraid of. And the internet, it's given us a platform currently, like, to unite, and we're utilising that. The campaign here in Ireland, like, I have to say, we've had an incredible year. The movement here has been, I believe it's stronger than what it's ever been before. I'm really happy with the people that I'm liaising with now through the Cannabis Activist Alliance, and I think that there's big things going to be happening here next year, and the movement's just going to be getting bolder and more brazen, just pushing the boundaries further and further as we get closer and closer to change. But yes, final headline, guys. Final headline. And this is a positive one. I believe it's a positive one. And this is a person that I would love to have as a future guest on the show. This is the case of a white boy, Rick. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with that name, but I'm not going to really use that name. I'm not too sure if he's happy with that. But this is the name. His name is actually Richard Wessler Jr., as his dad's was Richard Wessler Sr. There's a movie out at the moment about this guy, and there's also a great documentary over there on Netflix, which I recently watched just yesterday, and I really enjoyed it. Now, it was really really eye-opening again as to the harms that befall society because of Prohibition. Again, just to pop up this white boy Rick, he's he's releasing his own cannabis brand, and the cannabis brand is going to be named the 8. And that's in representation of the 8th Amendment, the Constitution, which has a prohibition against cruel and unusual punishments. And why he's actually suing the government currently. He's suing the FBI, and I believe he's suing some state prosecutors or something like that for violating his constitutional rights. What happened to Rick was sick. He got caught with cocaine at the age of 17. He got caught with cocaine at a time when, we had like Nancy Reagan going around to kids and just saying no, and and all of this. At a time when it was mostly black people getting caught with it too. And he happened to be white. So this made it even worse for him. Because now the media really homed in on on Rick's case, and it was a trial by media again, one of those cases where the media just made a complete misrepresentation of who this guy was, and the jury, of course, were heavily influenced by this. He ended up getting at the age of 17 for having more than 650 grams. I believe he had a couple of ounces of cocaine, maybe a couple of kilos of cocaine. He was given a life sentence. A life. In America, life is life. It's not 25, 30 years. I believe it's life is life until he gets paroled or let go. He served over 30 years in prison. His case is a very, very interesting one. He served over 30 years in prison. He got out of prison for the life sentence in 2017, and he immediately was sent on a bus to Florida to serve another prison sentence. And I'm not too sure as to the details around this, but somehow he got tied up in some sort of a stolen car dealership type of a deal. Basically, he arranged for his mum to buy a car. And he was getting threatened then by the authorities that, hey, look, if you don't plead guilty to this, we're going to do you or we're going to do your mum and your sister, and we're going to get them locked up for it, for 5 years or something like that. They were getting threatened with. So he was just like, yeah, look, I'm serving life anyway. I'll just fucking plead, whatever. Even though they actually had nothing to do with it, apparently. I'm not too sure what the story was there on that one regards. But he went straight into prison. But he only got out of prison then in July 2020. He wasn't long out of prison, and I believe he was out of prison just over a year, and he announced then in June or July of this year that he was actually suing the cops. And this is the real cherry on top of the whole story, right? When Richard was 14, he was with his dad. And what was his dad doing? His dad was meeting the FBI, and he was giving the FBI information because his dad was an arms dealer. And he would sell guns to people, and then he'd sell that information. He'd say, look, I just sold guns to these fellas. Look, they have guns over there. Go on over and raid them now. And the cops would go over and raid them, and he'd get money off the cops then. So he was playing both sides, his dad was. And Rick was there then, and the FBI were asking about certain people within the neighbourhood, and Rick was able to kind of give information. So the cops are kind of like, oh, his son is actually the point for information. So at the age of 14, he was recruited by the FBI, and he was made an informant, and they were paying him cash and shit like that, and he got to learn the drug trade because of that. They kept him as an active informant up to the age of 16. And then at the age of 16, when they were done with him, they just stopped contacting him. They didn't even contact him to say, hey, look, you're not an informant anymore. They didn't debrief him and remove him and help him in any way. They just stopped contacting him. They just left him be. And of course, he was like, he knew nothing else but drug dealing and the drug life. He just continued to do it. And then at 17, as we told you, he got caught. So guys, watch the documentary, watch the movie if you like. Really interesting story. And I'm really interested in his cannabis brand as well. As he's releasing this cannabis brand, and the money that's going to be, the profits from the brand, it's going to go towards, again, fighting this social injustice. Again, I have a few videos there that'll actually pop up in screen there now for you. First, I'll go over. He's got an Instagram page. It's called. He's got a website first called the 8boywhiteboyrick.com. So this is his website. I'll pop his website up on screen there. So this is his website. So there's lots of information up there about him. That's himself there as a young lad in Michigan, and this is himself and now as an older man. You know, not just as a father, but a grandfather. His kids grew up without him. His grandkids, you know, were growing up without him. The documentary on Netflix is called A White Boy. If you put in White Boy Rick, you will find it. It's called White Boy. That's a documentary about the whole thing. Really interesting. An hour and 45 minutes long. Really well worth the watch. I'm doing my best to reach out to this guy. I hope I can make a point of contact there and to have him on, because what an incredible story. Like, he got used and abused by the very people, you know, when you think about this, the cops, they're there to protect him, but they use and abuse them to set him up, and then he served a life sentence as a result of what they did to him. He mightn't have ever got involved in the drugs trade if it wasn't for them turning him into an informant. And they take no responsibility at all for that. It's a sick case. Like, so I'm really interested in that. I'm really interested in his case against the government then, and suing them on a violation of that amendment, because it was a very cruel and unusual punishment. He was 17 at the time, and to get life in prison for like a non-violent drug crime, he didn't even kill anybody. They were so in the media, right? And you'll see this through the documentary if you're watching it. They were associating his drug dealing. Like, they basically claimed he was the kingpin of the whole, like, fucking Michigan greater area. And he wasn't, like, you know what I mean? It was a black dominated trade. He was like, the guy in the documentary says, he goes like, he goes, I was a 10, you know, he was like saying I was a 10 in regards to like 1 out of 10 in the drug dealers game. He goes, Rick was like a 2. He goes, he was a nobody. But the media made him out to be this kingpin. Oh man, there was some crazy stuff. Like local thugs got paid money to go down and show up outside of the court so the media could take pictures of them to portray that they were actually his friends, and they weren't. Oh, it was sick stuff, guys. And the crazy thing, do you know Beverly Hills Cop? You know, fucking do you know that fucking Axel Foley and stuff. You know his boss and that. The guy, he was a really angry guy in it. The really angry boss cop. Man, he was actually a real life cop, and he's tied up in all of this because he's apparently a crooked cop he's dead now. But he was dirty as fuck. He paid off a hitman. He paid a hitman off to go kill Rick, and the hitman wasn't able to carry out the job. He was unsuccessful. He was up at the courthouse to shoot him. He had a sniper there. He was going to snipe Rick from across on a building, but they actually brought him in under the building. Because they knew there was a credible threat to his life or something. I don't know. They took extra precaution there with him on the day. Like, crazy story, like absolutely crazy story. Really well worth to watch that documentary. I haven't watched the movie yet, so I'm not sure what the movie is like. But I think it shows more there of like that connection with his dad and stuff like that. This is his Instagram then, and they have a nice little video over here on the Instagram about the cannabis brand. So I'll play this one for you now, and hopefully there's not like any copyrighted music.
I was taught to sell cocaine by the government.
I go back there, start that.
At the age of 14, I was taught to sell cocaine by the government, for the government. Because I grew up on the east side of Detroit and understood a bit about the drug game, law enforcement agents followed me home from school, stomped on my innocence, and drafted me into the so-called war on drugs. 3 years later, those same agents set me up, arrested me, and had me sentenced to life in prison without parole. 32 years, 7 months, longer than murderers, rapists, and even child molesters. This happens to tens of thousands of forgotten people. And the only reason you know my story is because of the color of my skin. Because I am.
White boy Rick. White boy Rick. White boy Rick.
White boy Rick.
To help those forgotten ones, I started the 8th, and the sales of that cannabis will support my partner's social equity efforts. When you pop a bag or wear a t-shirt, you're making a statement that the war on drugs is really a war on people and a war on poverty. I'm helping those people by pointing the government's weapon right back at it. Let's start with the 8th. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishment be inflicted. The 8th by White Boy Rick.
Sick. And how cruel and unusual is it, man, to take a person's entire fucking life away from them over another person's desire to use a drug? You know, if you want to sell them that drug, you know, the government have a right to take your entire fucking life away. Sick. I've another video there. I'd like to play it. It's a more recent video there of Rick speaking out. This is about he announces the lawsuit against the FBI agents. Yeah, this is one worth hearing as well.
The justice system hasn't been fair to me over the last 33 years. I'm hoping now that this is the last book where I can close this chapter, go on with my life. But I think this needed to be done. I think the truth absolutely needed to be told. I think the people that did this to me need to be held accountable. I'm not blaming the people that are in office now. I'm not blaming the U.S. Attorney's Office that's here now. I'm blaming the people from the past, the people that did it to me, the retired FBI agents, the retired DPD officials, the retired U.S. Attorney that released my grand jury testimony. Everybody says that some of you right here have made claims about me that are further from the truth. They shock your conscience to say that I did these things as a child, that I was in charge of organizations. Alan, you sit here, you were the reporter at the Detroit News back then. A reporter put me at the head of the Best Friends organization, put it on the national media that I was the leader of an organization that was responsible for over 100 murders. That couldn't be further from the truth.
Best Friends, just to put it in perspective, is one of a few gangs that operated in that area at the time, and they were like a ruthless gang. Again, you watch the documentary there, and you kind of hear some of the stuff that went on, but it's crazy that they were linking this guy to all of that kind of stuff in the media.
I knew him. I grew up in the same neighborhood. Never ran with him. Never did anything. Was never mentioned in their indictment. There's been things that have been said that my mother was ashamed of, that my kids were ashamed of. And this is the final closure where we get to say what the truth really is, and we can prove what the truth really is. We're not making up anything. We're not making allegations. Everything that we say will be backed up by documents and FBI agents. That's all I have to say.
Come on. Imagine what that must have been like. 30 odd years behind bars from the age of 17, introduced to that life by FBI agents. You know, what must that be like to be like, you must think you're James Bond or something at the age of 14, to be going out there doing that. And then at 16, you know, kind of just, where's the guys gone? Where's the guys gone? But like the coke and the stuff is still there. Well,
Michigan has the dubious distinction of leading the nation in COVID cases. What?
You know, but, you know, where's the guys gone? I still had his coke going. He had no way to kind of stop what was going on, you know. They were after, like, literally just putting him on a track, just rolling him on down the track, and the track is downhill the whole fucking way. Like, he's got no brakes on that. It's just going to keep going and keep going. Like, oh, man. But, like, this, everybody, yeah, you should be all aware of people like this and cases like that. And if I could, from here, I'm definitely going to see if I can secure one of those T-shirts and get one of those sent over here. And show my support that way. But I wish I was able to try some of his bloody weed. Yes, I'm going to pack up another old bowl there. And we'll that's the 420 news for today, guys. Hope you all enjoyed that. wasn't too negative, and like we had some positive stuff, like, you know, even that one there with the Sinn Féin story, like, well, there's a lot of negative aspects to that. I think that is a very positive thing here for the movement, because it's a great conversation opener above there in Dáil Éireann. So I think there was some good news there today. Couple of bad bits though. Hash is good though. Hope you're all enjoying something nice out there as well. Oh, nice! I'm getting some appreciation from Romania. What's happening over there in Romania? Romania, the Aussie. What's happening? Says, hi Martin, much appreciation from Romania, my man. Love what you do. I hope we had more people. I hope you have more people like you here. Thanks for all the way from Romania, man. What? That's crazy. They think the reach of this international audience, like, that goes out there. I know by and large, I think it's like that the analytics shows me there on the likes of YouTube that it's 90% Ireland, about like 7 to 8% Britain, and then the rest of the world is made up there. There's like some people in Australia. There's like 3% from like America or something like that. Was it, or is it a bit smaller? I can't remember what the numbers were there now. But anyhow, or 0.3% from America. Nice. And is there protests? What's happening over there in Romania? I'd be interested to know that. I'm not aware of the law at the moment, but is it big punishments there at the moment if you get caught with cannabis? And like, is there actual active protests over there? Do you have groups and stuff going? I'd love to promote them. If you have any, let me know. Send me messages there, or send a link there in the chat, and I'll check it out. You're saying people do not want to legalize because they are afraid of cannabis, calling it a dangerous drug. Yeah, that's going on here as well in Ireland. We still get that here in Ireland, where people are labeling cannabis as being a dangerous drug. That yeah, we had a case there in the media recently, and I didn't really even want to cover it, because it was just so distasteful. It was a guy killed his partner after they consumed some edibles, apparently. But again, like, I don't think they consumed edibles. Like, if that's as the story goes, like what they consumed, like there was no indication there of them being drug tested. That there was edibles there, that they didn't say that they were tested at all. So I just didn't even want to go near that story. It was just like, it was a nasty one. But yeah, if I can, usually not enforced if you were caught with low quantity, like less than a gram. Legalization though is .to is the website. We have 27,000 signatures. Legal as .to. Is that right? Legal. It's not coming up for me there now. Legalasam.to. Legal cannabis condition for Romania. I see one up here on change.org, alright. Just quickly found this over there on Google, but it's got 564 signatures. Yeah, I hate doing these change.org signature things. But yeah, some great points being made here. Nice, interesting. So that's over on legalized marijuana. I can't find anything else up there, and I tried that legalisam.to. We cannot do protests because of the restrictions with the virus. Ah, balls. That is a nightmare. Nice one for that anyway. We can definitely keep in touch. If you want to send me any information you have there to martinsworldpodcast at gmail.com. And I would definitely like to learn more about what's going on over there in Romania as well. It's always good to hear about movements there across the rest of the world as well. As Albertio said, you know, we're all united in this cause. And I would definitely see Europe as being united with other parts of the world too, because as long as prohibition prevails in other parts of the world, then so will organised crime gangs. Yeah, Dave, who blames the murder on cannabis? Come on, man, find a harder drug to blame on that. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. Like I just didn't even want to be going near it. It was just too easy. But it was very just distasteful, man, because like the guy fucking killed his girlfriend. Like he's like, regardless of being on cannabis or whatever, like he fucking, and he did it in a nasty way as well. So we just didn't want to go there. And I should like cover bad enough news when cannabis is taken like that. That's heartbreaking news for me at times. Like then hearing a guy's girlfriend's getting like that. That's just like nah. High and homegrown. Billy Bonds isn't trusted with a real one. uh, oh yes, what you call it was right. .ro, because it just worked. There we go. This is legalization in Romania. Nice one there. And yes, they have 27,602 signatures, and it's a big spliff. Decent. That's really cool. That's a really nice website, guys, that you've got. I'll hit the translate button in a second, but I just want to see it in its raw form before I hit translate on Google. But this is really nice. That's a really cool website. Fair play, guys. I know the Cannabis Activist Alliance at the moment, they've launched their website. I should go over and look at that there as well. But this is a nice little website. We go back up, we'll right click, we'll hit translate to English. Chicken and you of one which. Google Translate is great, isn't it? Chicken. Chicken and you of one which. Oh, yes, I love Google Translate. What to say underneath there? Stop. Oh, I'll just hit accept. Okay. I accepted your cookies. I hope they're edibles. Hi, and you with us. Do you want to see what we will ask the Romanian parliamentarians? Nice. When we reach 100,000 signatures, we can send a bill to vote in Parliament. The final number of signatures exceeds the electoral threshold of 5% and attracts the attention of parties. Sweet, best of luck with that, guys. If anybody else out there is watching from Romania and you haven't signed that, guys, give it a signature. Somehow think I might have a very small Romanian audience. Our priority is elimination of punishment, criminalization, and liberalization of hemp. Nice, like we have a lot of similarities here. Why is this our number one priority? Cultivation, marketing, and consumption of plants containing 0.3% free THC. So they're campaigning just to have the 0.3% THC free, or yeah, one consume. Just keeps on flicking. See, interesting. 2 crops household legalization to cultivate plants with a THC content higher than 1% for own consumption. Find out more. What's that? So it's two plants? 2 plants? Guys, you gotta ask for more. Put a 0 after that too. Ask for 20. Tell them you want to grow 20 plants at home for your own use. You know, just show them, go over there onto the percysgrowroom.com and show them the micro grows up there. Say you want to do micro grows and you need to be able to grow at least 24 plants actually. Put a 4 after that too. Yeah. I put a 4 before the 2 and a 0 after it and say 420 plants. Yeah, say you need 420 plants and show them a really micro grow. A micro grow. Tree consumer creative. Nice. 4 trade legal. Nice, cool website, guys. Nice one for that. Anyway, I'm glad to be aware of that, and I appreciate it. I'm just saying, I bet he was on lots of stuff like booze and coke, etc. That chose to kind of to focus on. Yeah, apparently, I think there was maybe some psychotic drugs involved. Maybe he might have been on antipsychotics. I'm not too sure now. I can't really recall. Didn't really read too much about it. But I do recall the guy was not a frequent user of cannabis. He's only consumed it like 3 times before, and it was like his first time eating it as well. So. Easy for him to be fooled with a non-edible, cannabis edible that it contains like synthetics instead of actual cannabinoids. Ask for 50, they will give you 20. We had a heat wave a few weeks back. I thought I messed them up. Oh, yeah. Sorry, just looking through your comments there, and boys having a good old conversation out there. Guru Gangsta go 1 gram. COVID is people die. Be scared. Guru Ganja go can buy 10 bottles of whiskey, but fuck it if you try to get a baggie. Yeah, Guru man, I know your problem, dude. I know your problem, and yeah, I would wish that people had easier access to cannabis than they did to alcohol, because having that easier access to alcohol is very problematic for people. And yeah, man, I sympathize with you. You got my sympathies there, man. I fucking I hate the fact that used to really piss me off ages ago. I used to be sitting there without being able to get access to cannabis, and I'm just like, but I can go down and buy a load of fucking drink. It's like I can go down and drink myself to death, but I can't go out and buy a bit of cannabis. It's like so stupid, like. So no, yeah, man, I feel you there, Guru. I'm hope you're going easy on it, man. If you're back on it, dude. Again, that fucking demon drink, dude. Don't let it control your life, man. You gotta control it, man. You need that cannabis to ground you, bring you back to the present, get you back to communing with yourself. I missed the actual story. Sounds propaganda. It was complete propaganda. A complete hit piece on cannabis consumers. That's all it was, like a complete hit piece on cannabis consumers. He was probably told by the prosecutors, tell him you had a cannabis brownie and we'll get you off. We give you a 3-year sentence there. We tell him you done insanity. And he's right, but I wasn't even eating cannabis edibles. It's grand. We'll put a cookie in there for you. There's a big push to legalise cannabis. And we need something to push back. The MI5 are in there. Dude just goes along with it because he's going to get a 3-year sentence now for insanity after eating edibles that he didn't even eat. There you go, more conspiracy stoner talk. Oh yeah, I forgot I packed up a nice big bowl over there actually with some lovely hash. Yeah, Mackie, that's what I'm talking about, man. No restrictions, but if it's got to be a number, I propose 420. 420 plant limit. You can't grow any more than 420 plants, at least of the cannabis variety, 100k. Anyone know the actual reasons behind Gino pushing back the bill multiple times? I don't know about the earlier reasons, but the most recent reason anyway was because it's not even written. There's a group above in the Dáil who actually write the bills for the politicians to make sure it's like all legally sound and stuff like that. So they are going to be writing it now, so they're probably doing it right now, and it's going to be finished maybe before Christmas. I think he said it's going to take him about 4 weeks to do it. That was about 2 weeks ago, so it should be done in about 2 weeks, but he's not going to publish it then until next year, so it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully he'll have some comeback to us there before this side of the year, but we'll see what happens there. But it's probably going to be next year again by the time we hear anything from Gino and the boys. It was interesting to hear though that Luke Flanagan, I'll be paying attention to his social media and stuff coming close to the New Year's, as he indicated that he'll be doing something, in regards to civil disobedience of his own And in regards to cannabis, so it'll be interesting to see what he's actually going to do there. Check out my recent interview with Luke Flanagan as well. I have to release the audio format of that. Sorry if anybody listens audio only, as I forgot to release the audio format of that. So I should do that later. But it's well worth the listen if you haven't listened to myself and Luke Flanagan chat about the cannabis legalization day when he was on just over a week ago. Not over a week ago. It's the 22nd now, just over 2 weeks ago. Mad. Yes, Dave. Nearly every former addict I know, and I know a few because of online communities I'm involved with, most of them attribute cannabis as a major factor in them being able to quit their other addictions. Yeah, Dave, man, that's definitely something that's been seen as well across Canada. Canada has a couple of treatment centres opened up now where cannabis is okay. People come in, try to get off of heroin and stuff like that, or other kind of drugs, and they're allowed to use cannabis to help deal with the withdrawals. Because withdrawals, when you're withdrawing from these, it can be painful, it can be nausea-inducing. What does cannabis do? Oh, it alleviates the pain, it reduces the nausea. Oh, that's good. Yeah, we should let them use that. It makes sense. Here in Ireland, it's like, no, you gotta be abstinent. You can't be using any drugs. You're allowed Red Bull though, and you're allowed fags and coffee. It's grand. It was funny, just a flashback there actually to my conversation with Bernard on Eating with the Enemies. When he was sitting down across the table from me, telling me he was abstinence from all drugs. I don't consume any drugs, and I'm just like, but you're drinking a coffee right now. Or was it a tea? I think it was a coffee he got. Like, I was sipping on a wine throughout the conversation. I think he got a coffee. But it was kind of funny, Don't see that as a drug. I've tried to get that guy on as well, but it seems like he probably doesn't want to chat to me afterwards. High and homegrown, doesn't matter either way whether they allow us 0 or 420 plants. I'll grow as many as I need. Good man. Yes, I love it, Mackie. That's the approach we need. That is the approach we need. Others out there. Keita Halloran saying painkillers, I'm there. Guru Ganja Goat says, watch me fight the coppers. Peaceful protest, Guru. Peaceful protest, man. No fighting. Skatanas, people before profit are normal folk like yous and me who got sick of all this shit and tried to make a difference. None of them are career politicians. Yeah, I definitely would see that as them as well. They definitely would be able to relate to us in many ways. That is for sure. And they have a lot of normal lives going on out there. And they're not like the other guys up there at the top. The Mary Lou's, the fucking Micheál Martins, the rest of the boys. They're swanky out. Mustawa says, true Mackie, and same, but the community could thrive if we were allowed small numbers to breed and share clones legit. Exactly. Yeah. 420 plants per person, and people can pool their numbers together, so you can have a club with 3 people that's allowed to grow like 1,200 plants. Jokes. Guru Ganja Goat, I have and I will again. Right. Probably replying to something earlier, sorry, and just kind of scrolling through the comments there, so I'm just trying to put that into context. Chilbert says, can have plant counts when you're pheno hunting. That'll never work. Yeah, can't have plant counts. Yeah, you're dead right, man. You need loads of plants. And Paddy J says, listen to the Simple Life podcast, great interview. Yeah, glad you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed having a chat with Simpa. And we probably could have chatted for a bit longer, but unfortunately I had to go collect my daughter from school then afterwards. So yeah, we had to run away and cut it a bit short. Just over an hour, I believe. So still a nice conversation up there. Leave room for more. Leave room for more conversations in the future. Romania's back, says, sorry, work stuff came in, so the punishment in Romania is a fine or 3 to 10 years in prison for possession. 3 to 10 years, wow, that's a lot. Possession in Ireland, I believe it only gets you a maximum of a year, unless like you're caught more for cultivation and stuff like that. 3 to 10 years in prison for possession, cultivating, distribution, selling, buying, etc. It is not punished to be under the influence. Yeah, they don't do you for being under the influence, but if you're caught in possession, they'll do you with it. Yeah, interesting to see that there. Yeah, 3 to 10 years. We have like up to 10 years as well here as, for cannabis, so quite much the same. And yeah, there's Jordan Rivers. We did a podcast already, Mackie, and that should be released sometime soon. I believe he said it's going to be released maybe this week or next week or something along those lines. But yeah, that's been recorded and all. Done it just before the 5th of November, actually. I think it was just before the 5th of November we done it. He was over in Hawaii. Oh, shit. Gotta hit this ball of hash here now. 10 more minutes to 4:20. Should we stick around? The host of all the shows. What's that? That would be a great show. I'll get Jordan River on sometime. Yeah, that could be something that could happen. All right, definitely. I'd be very interested in chatting about with growers. I probably should be doing a bit more of that there. But there's to be 101 things I should be probably doing more of. But we'll work around it. But yeah, I'll certainly be excited to have Jordan on. All right, it was a good conversation with himself too. What's that good again? You got? I have been simped, not I'm liberated. Fuck cunts. Yes. Good again to go. I think you need like a punching bag or something, but you know, just like get that frustration out, man. Do you know what I mean? Get you one of those Terry torsos like I've done in my kitchen. If I can, it comes in really handy. Just trying on gloves and just a couple of few minutes rounds there. Do you know what I mean? And you've no more room for anger or aggression left in you. You know, you're just like yes. Terry doesn't mind either. Mustawa says you can get 200 plus grams per auto going perpetual would be fairly sustainable. It's not ideal, but far better than current mess. Yeah, autos aren't too bad, and definitely, doing a perpetual would be pretty good. Green tea had a pretty interesting way of doing it there. Starting a new plant every 2 weeks. That's a really good way of doing it. Check out the interview with Green Tea again, guys. They got to talk a bit more about the growing side of it with the guys, as they were they're all growers in that podcast with the high and homegrown. Whereas we chatted, we didn't talk too much about the growing aspects of it on my interview with Green Tea. So it's good to check that one out there and hear more about the growing side of it from Green Tea over on the High and Homegrown podcast. Stephen Walsh says, here, an old Chinese saying, a man who stands in the toilet is high on pot. Guru Ganji, obviously. Lads, be nice. Mustawa is frost landed here today, Paddy J. Yeah, it was very frosty here as well this morning. Had to defrost the windows and all before dropping the kids to school. Yes, plug the lads, not a bother. Keep it civil. Put her on the sandbag. Yes. You guard a uniform for Terry Torso. I'll bring you later. I'll take it out on you. Sound guru, sound by sound. Yeah, I'm hitting this bowl there now, and we'll be going enjoying the rest of the evening. I'll definitely respond there to you a dot in a bit. Where's me lighter gone? Oh, there it is. Oh, guys, somebody put me by a song there the other day, and I'll probably get pulled by YouTube for playing it. So fuck it, I don't care. I don't monetize my videos anyway and stuff like that. But it's called "What If." I'm gonna play this there as I hit this. What if? I believe that's what it was called. No. Gonna find this there now and play it because it's India Ari. There we go. This is it. Hopefully I don't get muted out there. Just think it's a good song. Something to think about as well. You know, to ask yourself, you know, what if you don't do what is the right thing to do and stand up for your rights? What if?
What if Martin didn't stand up?
Not talking about me. Talking about that guy.
What if Rosa didn't sit down?
That's the lady we'll be representing there now, coming very soon.
What if Malcolm didn't matter?
You know?
Where would we be now?
Let's play it.
What if Molly didn't get up, stand up? What if Du Bois didn't come to advance us? And Mandela didn't come to teach us? Where would we be now? We are the ones we've been waiting for. We can change the world. We can change the world with our love, 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 love. 'Cause it is up to us. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We can change the world. Our love can change the world. We can change the world with our love, 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 love. Our love can change the world. What if Maya didn't speak out? What if Langston Hughes didn't write it down? What if Josephine Baker didn't dance it out? No. Tell me, where would we be now? What if Sojourner never told the truth? Or Ida B. Wells never printed the news? Harriet never went underground. Where would we be now? We are the ones we've been waiting for. We can change the world. We can change the world with our love, 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 love. 'Cause it is up to us. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We can change the world. Our love can change the world. We can change the world with our love, 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 love. Our love can change the world. Me too, I matter, you matter, we matter. Together we are love. Me too, I matter, you matter, we matter. Together we are love. It's gotta be all of us to stand up and speak out with all of our love. Love, 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 love.
Guru, this is for you, boy. No anger, boy, just love.
'Cause it is up to change the world. Our love will change the world. We will change the world with our love, 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 love.
Yeah, the song's good at 1.5.
Our love will change the world. Oprah, Kamala, Ava, Tarana, and Lena. Serena,
Kamala.
Viola.
Kamala, why is Kamala Harris in there? She fucking laughed at more black people than the rest of them. He's as bad as Joe Biden. Stop. Did they actually have you on Kamala Harris in there? Like that was her. Like, yeah, that is you on Kamala Harris. Like, yeah. Like she was a state prosecutor. Like, she's responsible for locking up so many black people. But she's a woman. She's a black woman. So we have to let her in there. Yes, I only spotted that one there now because I obviously wasn't watching the video properly when I watched it the first time. Yes, but a powerful video nonetheless, you know, and a powerful question you have to ask yourself, you know, and not what if, you know, the question shouldn't be what will happen if I stand up. It's what will happen if I don't stand up, you know, because inaction is the greatest action you can choose. It is a choice, you know, it's an active choice to do nothing. And like to choose to do nothing, it's actually worse than to choose to do something. You know, when you stand up, look at the changes you make. So that's just something that we have to all take up on board as well. Can't help it, we have to look across to other places where people have triumphed over this discrimination. And hey, 420, yes, we got 2 of them in the one show. That means we're rolling for 2 hours today. But yes, we have to look across at other communities who've triumphed over the discrimination that they were facing, the black community, the gay community, and we have to take a leaf out of their books and standing up, speaking out. It is something that all of them did. Civil disobedience, it was something all of them did, you know, two people of the same sex kissing publicly. I believe that was certainly used as a form of protest, that there was like kissing protests or something like that. I've definitely seen that being done in places like, so again, you know, civil disobedience, we have to take leaves out of all of our books, and we have to remember these great people in the past, and look, don't be don't be afraid of doing nothing. Don't be afraid of doing something, be afraid of doing nothing. That's it. That's what I was trying to say. So there we go, guys. I will love you and leave you so on the 420. As yes, I believe 2 hours is enough for ranting and raving for me for one evening for you, and let you get back to enjoying the rest of your Monday. And yes, Guru Ganja, go, man. That's where you need to go, man. Yeah, if express the love, man. Fight them with love. Let the hate behind. That's what that whiskey does, man. Right, so guys, have a nice evening, and I will catch you all back here at on Wednesday at the same time again, 4:20. Yeah. Oh wait, sorry guys. Heads up, I might not be back here Wednesday. I believe I'll be starting an appointment with my daughter. So we'll be attending some extracurricular activities for the next number of weeks. So I won't be available for the Wednesday show, unfortunately, for 16 weeks. Yes. But yes, I'll be back Friday, nonetheless. So until Friday, guys, have a nice evening and have a nice week. Stay blessed, keep it lit. Peace. Bye bye.